What would you do if you found a lone black panther cub trembling at the base of a tree, its mother missing, and a 20-foot anaconda silently slithering closer through the jungle? Would you risk your life to save it, or stay back and let nature take its course? Comment below before you hear the full story, because what happened next in the depths of the Ecuadorian Amazon will leave you breathless. In the remote depths of Ecuador's Yasuni National Park, under a sun that turned the jungle floor into a furnace, veteran ranger Diego Alvarez maneuvered his aging patrol boat through the narrow Blackwater channels. Then came the urgent radio call. A panther cub, alone and vulnerable, had been spotted near the river bend of Laguna del Silencio. No mother in sight. Diego's stomach dropped. A solitary cub in the Amazon? That meant something had gone terribly wrong. Without hesitation, he cut through the swampy terrain, weaving between towering kapok trees. When he reached the bend, the air turned cold with tension. There, nestled at the base of a strangler fig, was the tiny cub, its black fur soaked and trembling, eyes wide with fear. But the danger wasn't over. The ground trembled. From the underbrush slithered a giant green anaconda, scales glistening like wet stone. It was massive, easily over 20 feet long, moving with eerie silence, tongue flicking, eyes locked onto its prey. Diego's breath hitched. The python was poised to strike. With seconds to spare, he lunged from his boat, blaring his air horn and firing a warning shot into the air. The snake recoiled, slinking back into the murk with chilling grace. Diego dropped to his knees beside the panther cub, wrapping it in a rescue cloth as it whimpered softly against his chest. He looked around the jungle, his heart pounding. This little one had survived. But its story was just beginning. With the rescued cub nestled in a blanket at his feet, Ranger Diego Alvarez kept a wary eye on the dense jungle around him. The Amazon never stayed quiet for long, and the silence now was unnerving. He could still hear the ghost of the anaconda's retreat, leaves rustling, water rippling, as it slithered back into the shadows. But something didn't sit right. Then, a sharp hiss sliced through the air. From the tree canopy above, a boa constrictor dropped like a shadow, its thick body coiling mid-air. Diego grabbed the cub and rolled just in time, landing hard on the muddy ground as the snake's coils thudded onto the boat's floor. The cub yowled in fear. Diego leapt up, rifle in hand, and fired a flare into the sky. The crackling light startled the boa, forcing it to retreat up the trunk with terrifying speed. His pulse thundered in his ears. He had saved the cub once, but this jungle wasn't done testing him. Diego secured the boat and radioed for backup. Cradling the trembling panther against his chest, he whispered, "I've got you. I won't let anything happen to you." And as he scanned the tangled vines and shadows one last time, he knew this rescue wasn't just about survival. It was a battle for trust, a race against the predators of the rainforest, and a story the wild itself seemed determined to write. With the cub secured in the bow of the patrol boat, Diego Alvarez pushed off into the flooded maze of Yasuni's twisting tributaries. The jungle around him seemed to pulse with life and tension. Overhead, scarlet macaws shrieked, howler monkeys echoed in the distance, but Diego's mind was focused on one thing: finding the cub's mother before it was too late. The cub whimpered softly, its golden eyes constantly scanning the canopy, listening. Then, from deep within the jungle, came a sound that made Diego sit up straight, a low, echoing roar, not aggressive, not territorial. It was a cry of loss. The cub's ears twitched. It let out a faint, hopeful mewl in return. Diego gunned the motor, following the call upriver. He passed beneath tangled roots, ducked beneath low-hanging branches, eyes always searching the shadows. Another roar split the air, closer now, urgent, raw. The cub responded again, louder this time. Then, a streak of motion through the trees, black fur, muscles rippling. Diego slowed the boat. "She's close," he whispered. He cut the engine and let the boat drift silently to shore. He unwrapped the cub and placed it gently on the riverbank. For a moment, nothing moved. Then, branches cracked, leaves parted, and from the jungle emerged a black silhouette, eyes glowing like molten amber. The mother had heard her baby's call, and she was coming home. As the golden light of dawn filtered through the thick canopy, Diego Alvarez held his breath. The jungle had fallen into a tense hush. The rescued cub, nestled safely in the crook of a moss-covered root, let out a tiny yearning cry, a sound so soft, yet filled with instinctive desperation. Then, deep from the trees, came the reply. A low, haunting growl rolled across the forest floor. Diego's eyes widened, branches rustled, leaves quivered, and then, like a shadow emerging from the soul of the rainforest, she appeared. The mother panther. Her sleek black form moved with impossible grace, eyes blazing with primal energy. When she spotted Diego, she froze. Her muscles coiled, her head lowered. A protective growl bubbled from her throat. Diego raised his hands slowly and stepped back, heart pounding. "He's yours," he whispered. The cub cried again, this time louder. The panther's ears twitched. Her gaze shifted. She let out a deep guttural purr and trotted forward, nuzzling the cub with powerful tenderness. The little one buried itself in her fur, its trembling body slowly relaxing. The moment was so raw, so pure, it brought tears to Diego's eyes. But just as she turned to leave, the panther stopped. She looked over her shoulder, straight at Diego, and in that brief, silent stare, something passed between them. Not threat, not fear, but recognition, respect, a mother's unspoken thank you, and the wild's quiet acknowledgement of a man who dared to care. As Diego guided the boat back through the twisting waterways of Yasuni, the rescued cub curled tightly against his chest, a fragile shadow of wild innocence. What he didn't realize was that his dashcam, perched on the front rail of his patrol boat, had captured everything: the anaconda's attack, the daring rescue, and the heart-stopping moment when a predator became protector. Back at the ranger station, Diego reviewed the footage, his hands trembling as he watched the jungle drama unfold. With the park's permission, the video was shared online, and within hours, it went viral. Millions around the globe were transfixed by the rare footage. A panther cub, saved from the jaws of death. A ranger risking everything in the heart of the Amazon. But it wasn't just the danger that captivated people. It was the look in Diego's eyes as he cradled the cub, and the soft purr the tiny creature gave in return. News outlets covered the story. Conservation groups praised Diego's courage. And suddenly, the forgotten trails of Yasuni were lit by the glow of attention and admiration. What began as a desperate rescue had become something far greater. It was no longer just a story of survival. It was a beacon of hope. Weeks passed, but Diego Alvarez couldn't stop thinking about the little panther he had rescued from the jaws of death. Every morning, as he cruised the misty waterways of Yasuni, he scanned the banks and treetops, hoping for a sign. Then, one golden dawn, near a quiet lagoon thick with mist and blooming orchids, he saw them. A fully grown panther emerged from the shadows, sleek, powerful, and unmistakably familiar, and trailing just behind her, the cub. No longer frail, it pounced playfully at her tail, full of life and strength. Diego's heart clenched with emotion. He slowed the boat, not wanting to intrude, just witness. The mother panther turned. Her golden eyes met his. No growl, no retreat, just a long, still gaze that spoke of memory and recognition. Then, slowly, deliberately, she blinked. Diego felt something shift. It was the same gesture he'd seen from wild cats at peace, a symbol of trust. She remembered him. He watched as she turned, her cub trotting close behind, both vanishing into the emerald maze of the rainforest. In that silent farewell, Diego didn't feel sorrow. He felt honored, because the wild had welcomed him and he had been part of something sacred,